Game 4 of the finals. House Party 5v5 Saturday League. 2 months in the making. We are here and we are live. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Anson, and shoutcasting with me this series, my good friend Deck.
Hey, guys.
We are going to be going strong until the last game is done. Breaking Bard up against the ropes this game. Kuro Sakai locking in the Thresh for Breaking Bard. Hands of God up next to pick. It is all down to this game for Hands of God. If they can win, they close things out. 3 wins to 1. Breaking Bard need to claw their way back and win the next 2 in order to take the series.
And, I mean, it should not surprise anyone that Kalista is banned here. We called it, we knew it was going to happen. Now, what I am surprised by is that they decided to not ban Azir instead of not banning Hecarim.
That shows a lot of respect to Ginger, really. And are we going to see the Azir come out despite the fact that the ban wasn't put down?
I mean, we do have the time. That could be an Annie mid, but I won't hold my breath.
Any champion we haven't seen played in this series yet. So you're right. A lot of options open as to where Annie could end up going. Mishari and Fly Knight up next to pick. Mishari's he's been improving his Gragas play. He's had some good plays this series. I gotta wonder if he's gonna stick with that same jungle path, or if they're going to try something a little bit different. I feel like he's feeling.
I almost hope.
Different.
Yeah, I almost hope that he does something different because
the Vi.
Okay. All right. You got
Mishari,
me.
you know I get excited when anybody plays Vi. Hellbizzle and Better Call Sala up next. Pick things out for Hands of God. You know, composition-wise, and Annie with the Lucian bottom lane is a pretty good bottom lane comp. Again, I haven't seen Wumple play a lot of Lucian either, so...
Lucian's ult early game is okay. I mean, you do see some people using it to put some damage on people in a trade, but mostly around level 6 you're using it either for wave clear or for finishing off somebody that's running away, because you don't have enough attack speed and items for it to actually be useful yet.
Right.
So having somebody like Annie, who has this ridiculously powerful ult, that instantly covers up any flaws that your ult had. So if they manage to catch somebody out, ooh, Corky.
Okay.
And looks like Ginger DC'd.
We might... It looks like we're going to have to remake this one. Stick around, guys. We'll be back here in a few minutes. Okay, so we did get that problem sorted out. Both sides remaking the game. Picks and bans stay the same. The Corki pick actually was due to a client bug, so that pick is going to be restored to Hands of God, and they will get the opportunity to pick somebody else for the mid lane, top lane, wherever else Corki might have gone. It did seem a little strange.
I was not expecting the Corki, although it wouldn't have been too much of a stretch to see it go mid. I just was kind of curious as to why they would pick that early. But it looks like it was supposed to be a Cho'Gath, and he couldn't see it.
That apparently was what happened. We give our guys the benefit of the doubt. Fly Knight gonna be looking at, locking in the Thresh. He's done quite well on that champion this game, this series. Mishari taking the Vi into the jungle. That's a huge change up for them. I'm wondering where Sala, where the Cho'Gath, which Sala currently has right now, is going to hit. Mid, top, even jungle certainly is an opportunity.
I think that might be a jungle Cho'Gath.
It certainly could. The only other champion they have selected right now that could jungle is Mundo, and Mundo not really a competitive tier jungler at the moment, so I don't see them picking him up. Of course, Lunas could still end up picking up the jungler, swapping it out with Sala, and taking the Cho'Gath mid. Looks like Sky is going to retreat back to his Darius play.
It's like Asphalt wants to have some glory on Kog'Maw.
It's a bit risky, I would imagine.
Well, you know,
at
this point, can you really blame them for playing risky?
I'm not sure if you can. They are looking at Hands of God one game away from winning, and at one point you're like, you know what, we're gonna go for broke, and we're going to make risky plays, but maybe it'll pay off, because being careful hasn't really helped us so far to begin with. On the other hand, you're looking at, we're only one loss away. We need to be more careful. We need to change up our philosophy, our approach, which I'm happy they're doing with the jungle, not necessarily coming out in favor of the Vi pick as the solution to all of their problems, but certainly something had to be done, and the Kalista ban was spot on as far as that goes. Wumple taking the Lucian bottom lane, so we'll see how that stacks up against Kurosakai's Sivir. The Vayne did get taken away from him in Champion Select, but Luna's gets the Azir on top of it. So how is that going to affect things mid lane? Is Asphalt going to be able to stand up to that barrage?
You know, I like to think that Asphalt picked Kog'Maw knowing that Lunas was going to pick Azir because Azir wasn't banned. And he's probably just going to play really safe until he gets his ult, and then he's just going to try and farm with his ult. He's going to try and stay as far away as possible. Get in a couple of auto attacks on minions and such if he can. But otherwise, he's just going to stay really safe. He has a very damage-heavy jungler in Vi. He has the potential for a lot of saves from both the Thresh and the Darius, and will just be rewarded for trying to play safe.
I think, once again, a lot of this is going to come down to bottom lane. It's been that way all 3 games so far. Hands of God in possession of a very fearsome bottom lane. Of course, Kurosakai and Fly Knight can do quite a bit of work as well. One hook, and that is a lot of damage when you're talking about a Sivir.
Yeah, and the thing is, we take the focus away from top lane a little bit, but like Sky and Ginger have been doing really well. Sky did really well in game 1. Ginger, okay in game 2, had some kind of questionable ults, but overall did some good play. And then game 3 came out really well with the Ryze, enough to actually draw a Ryze ban. So we'll have to see how he's actually going to do on this Mundo. I mean, I am expecting him to at least be relatively good on the Mundo. I don't know how his early teleport fights are going to go. He's bringing teleport while Sky is bringing ignite. So he's going to have more map presence.
I think Sky's going for broke. He's looking at this game saying, I need to carry this game by myself. I need to take ignite, get the kills in top lane, and especially against the Mundo. I feel like the ignite is a good choice for him when it comes to fighting against the Mundo. You have to bring that summoner spell if you plan to win fights and get kills post level 6. Otherwise, the Mundo is just going to turn on the ultimate, walk away, and not much you can do about it. Meanwhile, you're still sitting there at the same hit points. So, Sky choosing, I think, a fairly good summoner spell. Conversely, Gingerfied has the ability to join his team, which I think, so far, Sky has shown he has the ability to get in there and disrupt a teleport at a crucial moment. If he can continue to do that, that's going to nullify Gingerfied's advantage from that teleport, at least until the mid to late game, where Ginger can use it for split pushing and to rejoin his team right before a fight.
Now, Sky does need to be safe, though, because an early Mundo damage, depending upon your rune setup, can do a lot, especially if you're, not having a whole lot of magic resist early. If he doesn't go for early magic resist, if he just goes for broke and tries to get damage items, he might get destroyed by cleavers.
There's a lot of cleaver damage that can get thrown out. It's on a very short cooldown, and there are just so many things that need to fall into place for both sides in order for them to capture the victory. We'll see how it works out, guys. We're heading into our loading screen, potentially the last game of the night. Breaking Bard versus Hands of God. Stick around to see how it turns out. We'll be back shortly. And we are back onto the Rift, Breaking Bard versus Hands of God, our Saturday League Finals best of 5. Hands of God 2 games up, 1 game away from victory. I'm your host, Anson. In the co-caster share with me, my good friend, Deck.
Hey, guys.
We'll be enunciating all the fun for the remaining games of the series. Early aggression coming out from Breaking Bard. They are trying to make something happen here, level 1. Gingerfied putting down those cleavers, getting some distance between himself and the rest of the team. Fly Knight going in, but wasn't able to find anything. Did he take the hook or the flay for level 1?
It looks like he hasn't taken anything yet.
Leaving his options open as his team gets settled in to where they want to be. Some deep wards down from Hands of God, giving them a little bit of vision, but still not going to have exactly a line on where Mashari is starting his jungle out. Pretty safe bet, though, that he'll be starting that bottom, and Hands of God probably can count on that. Meanwhile, over on their side of the jungle, Better Call Sala getting a start on his Gromp with some assistance from Wumple and Hellbizzles. Assistance granted from both bottom laner teams, and they'll be headed into lane to see what they can do this time around. You know, I stand by what I said, Deck. I really think this game and whatever else is to come is going to be decided by this bottom lane and how it functions.
Well, I mean, a lot of the snowballing has happened from the bottom lane in the early and the mid game, but then it's relied a lot on the mid play as well by the mid to late game.
That was,
so as long as
that was a depressing hook. Kuro Sakai just whiffed his boomerang blade. Just misjudged the amount Fly Knight was going to pull back on it. They would have gotten quite a bit down, but this boomerang blade going to hit both sides. The Ignite goes onto him, and Breaking Bard out for blood right now. They are looking desperate, almost. Great steal. No, that was not a steal. Okay. Sala picking up the Scuttle Crab. Gives his team a little bit of vision over that river area. Kuro and Fly Knight positioning themselves. Hellbizzle's got to be careful here. He doesn't have his stun up. He gets flayed backward. He just got the stun. Probably going to hold on to that for a little while. At least until Fly Knight's cooldowns go back on again.
I mean, we're already seeing a lot of aggression in bot lane, and we're seeing Luna's is already trying to shove Asphalt into tower because early game Kog'Maw is going to have a little bit of a hard time hitting stuff under the tower. So it's just going to be a lot of back and forth on both sides.
Gingerfied and Sky not really doing much to each other, just sort of sizing each other up and trying to play it safe.
CS is mostly even across the board.
Mostly.
Luna is taking a little bit more punishment to be able to get a couple more minions ahead, but pretty even besides that. And the cleaver damage.
You know, Hands of God at this point can taste victory. And at the same time, Breaking Bard are staring down defeat. So there's plenty of motivation on both sides. Asphalt out of mana though. The Cho'Gath Rupture not going to hit, and he's able to walk back to turret. Keeps his flash.
No flash, no ghost used. It's a good escape. Any escape on Kog'Maw where you don't have to blow your summoners is a great escape.
And not bad at all. It limits Sala's options when he's going to gank again. He knows he's going to have to contend with those 2 summoners. Should he show up once again, try to remove them. That may be his goal. Remove the summoners, give Luna's a window of opportunity to attack and punish Asphalt for having to play safe until that flash comes back up. I think that's what Sala's goal was, focusing that first gank. Fly Knight sizing up the competition here, trying to get that perfect hook in Mashari goes in and forces the flash away, but Hellbizzle getting hooked backward. A lot of damage going on to Kuro. The Ignite ticking away. First blood goes over to Kuro. Mashari is going to take it with his E. 1-for-1 exchange, but again, the bottom lane favor goes in hands of God. The support got the kill there. Mashari trying to get away. Sala flashing after. Fly Knight is soloing Wumple. The heal does come out on him, but the crowd control could take it. No, the Ignite ends up taking it. Fly Knight grabs the kill, a flay backward, distances himself from Sala, but not quite enough. Those Whirple Spikes going to be able to finish him off there. And what an exchange in the bottom lane. Both sides fighting tooth and nail. 2-2. The score sits.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that Wumble couldn't get the first blood, but Hellbizzle got it, and that meant that first back comes back with a bunch of stuff. It's got like Sightstone, pink wards, pots everywhere.
I think he went back to base and looked through the junk drawer in the item shop and just said, you know what, give me one of everything.
More or less. Now, the question here is, are we going to see a lot of heavy plays from Breaking Bard? Or can we just say that game one, yeah, they lost. And ate the stun with shield. In the first game...
Getting hooked back. The Boomerang Blade does hit on both ends. That's a lot of damage. Flash from Kuro Sakai. Going to be able to pick that one up at Wumple. Going in for the kill. Gets it with the Piercing Light, but he's 1v1ing against Fly Knight right now. And the Assault and Battery coming in from Mashari. Wumple's going to eat it on the turret. Does deny the assist to Mashari, but he will pick up the experience for that kill.
Now, as I was saying, are we going to see a lot of heavy plays from Breaking Bard like we are now? Or is it just going to be game one was a data round for Hands of God?
I have to feel like that's the way it's looking for them. Where Luna's having to flash away from this gank here, back to his turret, so some good interaction from the jungle on Mashari's part. He's not level 6 yet, still managing to maintain a good presence. He's got himself a kill, and he's put some good pressure onto these lanes so far. Right now, Luna's walking back to the mid lane while Ashfall sitting there farming it up. So not too much lost for those gains.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mashari just hit level 5. Sala is almost level 6. So Mashari's been having a lot of like presence around, but he's losing XP over it. And yes, Sala's got really good pressure at level 6, but Mashari's is much better.
And we can't discount the fact that Luna is on his comfort champion, and he's level 7, hasn't used that ultimate yet. So will be quite big when he decides to start joining the fight. And as we continue these this extended skirmish down in the bottom lane, I have to feel like, again, he's dipping down right now. Didn't quite find what he was looking for with Breaking Bard being pushed back onto the turret, but I feel like his eyes are centering on this bottom lane. He wants to go down there, make a difference, get a double kill, and just ride that to Hands of God victory.
Oh, definitely. Like, at the moment, although Kuro is a little bit ahead, he's not ahead by that much. He has almost 100 gold ahead of him, but all he needs is that one really good fight and to get a little bit more gold. Hellbizzle is getting really close to hitting 6.
Great dodge from Wumple, getting away from the death sentence of Fly Knight. Sala finding Mashari in his jungle here. Mashari going to have to Q over the wall. We'll get that speed boost from the shrine and make it out of there just fine. But Sala firmly marking his territory in the jungle, telling Mashari, don't come back.
This is my pink ward. You can't have it.
And, you know, the pink ward in that particular brush is quite a sustainable pink. It's one of those that will last you a good 10, maybe 15 minutes because the enemy jungler just often doesn't come through that area. Now, you can argue the value of vision over an area and enemy's not going to walk in anyway, but in this particular instance, yes, he caught Mashari out trying to destroy the ward once he stepped through that brush and was able to capitalize on it.
Well, the advantage that it gives is that, yeah, your jungler usually doesn't walk through there, but sometimes your top laner will roam through there. They'll roam through the tri-brush down that way just so they won't get seen, and then they'll come up behind the mid laner.
Fly Knight missing a depressing hook there. Sala taking out this pink ward. Mashari is 6. Charging up. The Assault and Battery not going to go in on it, so he still remains hidden in this brush. Sala deciding to back off, though. He's not going to pressure something in that bottom lane quite yet, but Mashari waiting in the wings for the Lantern gank.
Helbizzle still doesn't know he's there.
No vision on that turret at the moment. So any point, the Lantern could get thrown back. Helbizzle in
So we're seeing
possession.
Solly, though. Looped around to the lane as well. So if there is a Lantern gank, it's going to be accented by a sudden Cho'Gath appearing out of a brush.
That's a scary sight. Kuro throwing the
We know.
boom blade out.
The brush is gigantic if it can hide a towering Cho'Gath.
Yes. The gigantic void monster. Doesn't hide easily. Gingerfied
You're
getting
taking a lot of damage.
Surprised at what Sky is able to put out. Turns on the
Ooh,
ultimate
that was a
here.
mistake.
That's the ignite. That is the dunk. Not good for Gingerfied. Gets solo killed by Sky on Darius once again.
Oh, Ginger. Come on, Ginger.
So if Breaking Bard end up pulling off the victory here, take this to Game 5, do we see a Darius ban on Hands of God side?
It's possible. I don't think it's worth banning over some of the other stuff. Because, I mean, it isn't impossible for them to play well against it. They played well against it in Game 2. But they need to respect Darius damage. That was blatant disrespect on Ginger's side. Like, you should never use the ult from Dr. Mundo when you're that low next to a Darius.
It just wasn't a
Like,
good
he only had 2 stacks.
The hook going down onto Helbizzle. The follow-up on the hunt is pursuing Hands of God down. Gingerfied taking a lot of damage from Sky in the top lane as well, and that was a very well-coordinated gank coming out from Breaking Bard. They're rotating toward the dragon area, trying to set things up. Sala is there with his top hat, looking quite dapper. Quite gruesome, too. Able to fend off Breaking Bard's attempt to rally around that dragon. Only had 2 members on their team, though. Bottom lane, Kuro still pushing this turret down, dodging whatever Wumple seems to throw at him, but he's in a rough spot now. Uses the spell shield. Flash creates the distance. This heal is going to give him the speed up he needs. Sala, just with impunity, goes in and feasts on Kuro. What happened there? Fly Knight was completely blindsided.
I don't think that Fly Knight was expecting the Cho'Gath to walk in there and get the feast kill, because I think he assumed that Kuro would be able to get away from Cho'Gath, because Cho'Gath didn't have knockup or shout anymore. So he was trying to prevent Wumple from being able to get the ult kill. Unfortunately, Cho'Gath's ult was up.
You got to be aware of the flash Cho'Gath ult. So much damage comes from that, and especially if you see one walking up to you on a turret and you've only got a few hundred hit points, might be a good idea to expect it.
And because Kuro decided to get an early Avarice Blade and early Pickaxe and such, so we have to wait for a little bit more gold before he can get an IE. And that means that although he was ahead on gold, he's not actually ahead on gold anymore. Wumple has an Infinity Edge now.
That Infinity
and he
Edge.
won't have it for a while.
Infinity Edge is so huge when it comes to an AD carry, especially Wumple, especially a Lucian. And opposite side, we're looking at just a BF sword, pieces of the actual Trinity Force. Luna's with a great Conquering Sands there. Great Azir ultimate.
Blowing the
Gets some
barrier.
distance between himself and the enemy. Not going to be able to do much more than use that defensively, though. Sitting on about 300 hit points. He's going to have to be careful that Asphalt doesn't throw the Bio-Arcane Barrage down on him. It'd be quite easy to get hit by 2 of those on your way back to the base.
And this is a Kog'Maw with blue buff right now, so he can spam those with impunity for at least a little while.
Yeah, Luna's deciding to head back at that point. You're absolutely right. The blue buff essential on Kog'Maw in a lot of professional games where Kog'Maw is played mid. The blue buff becomes a more important objective than the dragon. So it's heavily warded, heavily scouted, heavily contested. And if Hands of God want to put just that much more pressure on Breaking Bard, they definitely need to be more on top of the blue buff objective.
And I really like Fly Knights being able to get Thresh, because Helbizzle has not been able to have the same effect on Annie that he's had on Thresh so far.
He really hasn't. Despite the fact that he has contributed quite well a few times to include the First Blood this game, he hasn't really had the same impact. It's interesting to see 2 Thresh users. I don't want to say Thresh mains, but definitely people who know how to play Thresh very well might be their main, just jockeying for control over that champion.
And I mean, we haven't seen a good Tibbers ult yet from Helbizzle, because he's either been in a situation where Tibbers wasn't needed, or he didn't have it, or he died before he could cast it, which was the case in his last death, where they blew 3 ults to kill him.
Tibbers going down here, but Mashari is in the back line, tearing things up with the ultimate. Fly Knight trying to get away from Helbizzle. Damage going to be enough to take Helbizzle out before he can do any more work, and that is another kill going in favor of Breaking Bard. They have really stepped things up this game. They're falling a little bit behind in terms of farm in some lanes, but overall, Breaking Bard have done quite well for themselves. 8-4. They got a 2,000 gold lead, 1,000 gold leads, and Dragons up, available on the map right now.
Yeah, and currently you see Chari's got 4 kills, but Salah's only like 200 gold behind, and that's including the tower they just got.
The flayed backward does stop Salah for a little bit, but he's going to be able to make it out. Luna's going in with the Sand Soldiers, trying to put some work down, get some healthy distance between himself and Breaking Bard. So Breaking Bard, if they're going to contest this dragon, need to make that decision here pretty soon. Kuro can't continue taking his red buff unless Mashari is going to go in with the Q Smite Suicide. Nope, the Lantern there to get him to safety, but not able to pick up the dragon. First dragon of the game going over to Hands of God. Highlight is getting chased down. Kurosakai has to use his flash to get out, but a great cleaver flashed on top from Ginger. Going to secure the kill. He pops the ultimate to keep himself alive. staying healthy even with the Ignite ticking away on him. That ends up forcing Shari back to turret. Luna's getting dumpstered over the wall, but ends up doing some dumpstering himself. Takes out Fly Knight. Sky, meanwhile, still doing his thing in the top lane, trying to take this turret down before Ginger can teleport in. Takes it out just after. Great. Tibbers goes down onto Asphalt. He's going to have to be careful here. Fortunately for him, Wumple was not within range to follow up on that. Definitely giving Asphalt the respect he deserves with that Bio-Arcane Barrage, sitting at about 100 health. So, got himself.
I mean, he still got Helbizzle down to half health with only hitting him with 2 abilities. He didn't even hit him with the ult. He hit him with his Q and the E. So he puts out a very sizable amount of damage. He's got the Ludens. He's got a tier that he's stacking. I would not be surprised if he saves up to try and get, I don't know, a Death Cap next. He's sitting on 1,000 gold.
It would be a big power spike for him, certainly. Of course, the Ludens and the tier, pretty much all you need. Gingerfy turning the ultimate on, healing up, gets locked down. Sky pulls him back in, trying to get enough stacks down to where the Dunk gonna take it out. Dunk Master Darius getting his game on. Another kill going into the pocket of Sky.
Come on and slam. Welcome to Sky's jam. He's got himself 2 kills on the Mundo so far.
Do you know why they call him the bus driver?
Why's that?
He just took Ginger to school.
Ooh.
Luna's...
That's a dirty one.
It was on a t-shirt when I was a kid. Kids in my school liked wearing it. They all played basketball. I claim no credit.
Oh.
Wumple and Helbizzle taking out this turret. Luna's having to get away from the collapsing members of Breaking Bar. Darius coming around the corner. Sky trying to pinch that exit path. The pull lands, gets some damage down onto Luna's. He has to flash out. Flash being burned. Luna's gonna have to be careful next time he ventures off into that territory. Sky with a great rotation to cut off his path of escape and force that flash out.
That was some really good positioning by Sky. He snuck right behind him. So Luna's actually used his ult to push away most of the team, but didn't realize, oh, there's a Darius behind me. Well, that's smart. Time to flash away.
Both sides heading back to base now, trying to buy up and reposition themselves. Breaking Bard still in command of a 2,000 gold lead, but have not been able to push that into a snowball as of yet. They maintained that lead for the past 10 minutes or more. We'll see if they're able to break away from it and turn it into a victory, or at least a decisive gold lead. Dragons, very rare this game. 1 in favor of Hands of God, and that is all she wrote on the dragon buff. So that objective...
I mean, this is a completely different game from the last one. There's been almost no attempts at doing dragon because neither team wants to risk it. Both teams have teams that are really good at fighting on dragon. On one side, they have Cho'Gath, they have Azir, they have Annie, they have everything that you want to do all the AoE. On the other side, they have dive potential, they have poke.
They're looking at this fight going, there are so many ways that this could go wrong. And that's what happens when you throw a composition like Breaking Bards up against a composition like Hands of God. Both sides are looking at each other going, I can see this going wrong about 14 different ways. That teleport coming in from top lane. Mashari is by himself, cut off from the rest of the team. The culling is going to hit him shot for shot in the back. I think he ate every single one of those. That is going to be rough if he wants to come over the wall for the Dragon Steel. But Asphalt throwing the Bio-Arcane Barrage down, getting quite a good bit of damage onto Helbizzle, forcing him back out of the fight. think Hands of God just going to rotate toward middle and try to grab a turret instead.
Definitely the safer pick. The turret was really low, and they had a pretty big wave building towards it thanks to Azir's turret, so...
And you know what? Dragon still has 20 seconds left on the spawn timer, so they can take out the mid lane turret, open up the map a little bit more for themselves, and still posture for the second dragon of the game if they so choose. But right now they're sending 2 members back to base. That dragon is going to spawn before they can make it back out again. So Mashari and Kuro at the moment have command of the pit. The Tibbers goes down on only 1 target, didn't seem to hardly deal any damage at all. With the Vi ultimate, Kuro picks up the kill there. Complete misplay from Hellbizzle, unfortunately for Hands of God, as they try to rally some sort of response to this dragon, but it's going to be a 5v4, no, a 5v3. A great hook from Fly Knight absolutely deletes Wumple from the team fight. Another hook from max range onto Sala. Can these hooks ever end? Fly Knight is just on top of his game.
Welcome to your mad life. Welcome to your mad life, Hands of God. Meanwhile, on the back line, hey, what you gonna do? Sky is coming to bring his jam, and he has come and slammed on top of Luna's.
Breaking Bar just taking a commanding lead this game, and this has got to leave Hands of God wondering, can they win a game without Wumple on Kalista? That's the question that needs to be answered if they lose this game. And it certainly looks like, by the way things are steamrolling in Breaking Bard's favor, they just might.
I mean, a lot of really good team fights so far. They have not been in a situation where they were fighting in a distinct disadvantage. They try and fight where they have vision. So far, just don't throw. I mean, I know that's asking a lot of any of these teams, but we've seen throws all the time.
We certainly have. And you know, no team is exempt from the throws. There's certainly things that Breaking Bard can do. This lead is very strong, but it's also very fragile. If they manage to not use the edge that they have right here, it could all crumble away very fast. And we've seen Hands of God do that in team fights from previous games. Go in down on gold and come out with 4 kills to 1 in a team fight.
Usually when that happens, though, a lot of the gold is centered on one person, and that one person's not in the fight, or they die really fast. This time, all the gold is spread out. I mean, Mashari has a lot of kills, but Mashari doesn't have the most gold.
The Vi ultimate going down onto Sala. Mashari is by himself, though that was not a choice target to lock down. That fight, that ultimate will not be available for this upcoming fight if they choose to fight it. Right now, Hands of God are on their heels, chasing him down. Asphalt throwing the Barrel Arcane Barrage over the wall. A great hook. Not so great target. And Asphalt ends up falling to Lunas.
Incredibly flimsy Kog'Maw. You gotta watch out. That's a lot of damage from... Even one Azir auto attack with his soldiers will do a ton of damage.
It's one of those abilities that's just a little bit hard to grasp your head around. Azir plays so much differently than other AP mid laners that you can often catch people sleeping out of position where they feel comfortable, because normally against 95% of top mid laners they are comfortable. Not with Azir though, and that's exactly what happened right there. Luna's just caught Asphalt sleeping.
Alright, so one thing that we're seeing though is there's a lot of rotation towards top lane. So it's very likely that they're going to try and pressure for a top tower instead of trying to put more focus. Uh-oh, Luna's getting caught out. Luna's getting destroyed and had to blow the flash, but is safe. That is a lot of resources they just dedicated to Luna's and didn't get a kill, but they might be able to get a tower out of it because Luna won't be able to heal fast enough. They did just lose a tower though, so if they don't get this tower, then it might not have been worth. And can they get out safely?
Certainly does look like they're going to be able to exit stage left. Gingerfy doing his best to try to prevent that with cleavers. The On the Hunt gets turned on. The move speed should be able to get them out, but no, Asphalt sticking around, throwing the Bio-Arcane Barrage down. Lantern gets thrown for him, ends up eating a cleaver to the back. Mashari trying to provide some distance, but the constant re-engages from Breaking Bard have just left them in a position can't run away. Fly Knight has to get a hook off here. Somebody not going to be up off cooldown quickly enough, and a 5-man goon squad. Hands of God is tearing this turret in half. This is bad. This is exactly what Breaking Bard did not need.
I mean, all we saw was a sudden break in the team that separated. Lunas immediately goes after somebody.
The amount of AoE damage is just shredding Breaking Bard in half. This could be the game right here.
Now Breaking Bard, you guys might have Darius, and Darius hits like a Mack truck. But a Fedazir, who's ahead, hits like a Mack truck dual-wielding the freeway.
So very big gain for Hands of God in that last fight. They reestablished their dominance in this series, pulled the gold total even, and got themselves the first inhibitor that they've gotten of the game. So things definitely equalized at this point. We've got an inhibitor open mid on both sides. Breaking Bard, taking a look down mid lane, wants that other inhibitor down badly. Dragons are 1-1, and Breaking Bard end up stealing one. They got that one for free. Vax coming across for Hands of God, heading back to their base, try and regroup and figure out what their next move is. Baron is up. Neither side really in a great position to contest it.
Looking like maybe start getting some eyes on Baron. They did just get a tower that would help them out getting the Baron, but they don't quite have vision control of it yet.
It's going to be a difficult road if either side decides to tackle the Baron. I don't see that happening right now. It would be a desperation move if Breaking Bard decide to attempt it, and they're in no position to make a desperation move. They are plenty capable of continuing to make victory after victory in these team fights here.
They're attempting to bait Baron and get a kill, but they don't realize that their pink ward cannot see the ward that's outside the pit.
And that is a deceptive fact, because it certainly does look like that ward should be spotted from that position. But unfortunately, when we take a look at the vision, it's over the wall in such a way as to block it. Hands of God.
It looks like it is Hands of God's turn to bait.
Posting up around that Baron pit. Fortunately for Breaking Bard, they've got plenty of vision in the area. In fact, using the Farsight orb to spot out exactly where they are. They knew what they were up to. Hands of God retreating back toward the pit, and they may decide to just wait it out over the wall.
I mean, at this point, they may as well. They have two very strong tanks, and they have all of the engage, so if for whatever reason... Oh,
no, they are going on it. This could be bad for Hands of God. Breaking Bard are here. They can make something happen. Ultimates are up. The Baron goes over to Hands of God, but at what cost? Team fight is on. Kuro getting chunked down by Wumple, but the hook lands onto him. A great hook from Fly Knight. No follow-up from the rest of the team. Sky was off, chasing a target down. And fortunately, that meant Wumple survived, and Asphalt Kuro able to pick that one up, but not without their support dying. So
Sky actually wasn't chasing anybody. He got knocked away by Luna's ult, so he had to run around it.
I see.
Like, he got exactly who he was going for, and then he went, okay, now I'm going to get you, and then Azir's just like, I don't think so. You get to go around.
That was a long walk all the way around, and quite possibly the ultimate that made the difference in the team fight. I don't want to say won the team fight. Both sides limped away from that one, but, you know, Baron went in favor of Hands of God. They've got 2 members with that buff still
I almost
active.
think that Breaking Bard didn't respect how easily Cho'Gath can take Baron. Cho'Gath by himself will do a huge amount of damage to Baron, especially whenever you have even a small amount of AP, and he has an Abyssal Scepter, so it's not a huge surprise that he couldn't possibly have the Baron stolen from him.
Right. The Cho'Gath ultimate it has a wind-up animation of about a quarter to a half a second. When you smite the Baron mid-animation, it is a guaranteed Baron for your team.
It's almost like trying to steal from a Callista.
Right. Very hard to do. Very hard indeed. I think Breaking Bard's objective right there was just to use the Baron's damage to win the team fight and go from there. But unfortunately, the team fight wasn't won. It was kind of it was kind of even on both sides. And unfortunately, the Baron still ended up going over the Hands of God. Now,
Oh, this is dangerous.
we got a 4-man assault in this bottom lane. Breaking Bard trying desperately to defend it. They've sent Sky top lane to contend with Gingerfied as he continues to push this top lane in 4-on-4 in this bottom lane. Neither side wanting to relent just yet. Breaking Bard trying to defend this with the teleport coming in from Gingerfied. That means Sky has to walk all the way back to base, and there comes the late game strength of the teleport versus the ignite. Gingerfied can join his team. Sky has to walk over and stand next to his team before he can get anywhere close to what Gingerfied's able to provide to his team. But the disengage from Hands of God being punished here. Yashari going in deep, gets one. Sky with the dunk onto the Cho'Gath in the back line, gets the dunk onto Luna, but not enough damage to grab the kill. Death Sentence from Fly Knight just barely missing the Mundo on the way out. Gingerfied will make it out safely, along with Hellbizzle and Luna's. Luna's just barely limping away there. That was close.
Combination of good wall placement and poor flash by Sky. Sky flashed in the middle of the wall and then got knocked back towards where he flashed from, which was very unfortunate.
Luna's getting
Oh,
hooked
Luna's,
and
you don't have your
rolled
ult.
down there. Very unfortunate for him, but great hook from Fly Knight, and the inhibitor will go down. That is advantage. Breaking Bard. Dragon is up. They'll look to take their 3rd of the game and continue putting the pressure on. 3rd Dragon is a big victory, especially with an inhibitor down, and Hands of God have got to be feeling what seemed like a surefire victory in this series starting to slip away through their fingers.
I mean, they started this game relatively far behind. They turned it around a little bit, and then suddenly, oh, we're not as far ahead as we thought we were. This isn't good. Because they thought that they had come quite a bit ahead, and they had been doing really good on the rotations. They got quite a few towers. They used the teleport from Ginger very well. He went and pushed top. Top is almost dead now, just from him pushing it. And suddenly they get caught out in a team fight with the pants down, and they lose an inhibitor for it.
So it's almost like both sides are taking turns throwing the game. That was a really impressive engage coming from Breaking Bard. I feel like first time Kuro's actually used On the Hunt aggressively, offensively, to get the rest of the team into position to punish Hands of God for, frankly, was a pretty sloppy disengage.
And I think they might have been able to pull it away if Lunas had been able to ult before Mashari had managed to get close enough to ult. But unfortunately, the moment Mashari got to ult onto Wumple, Wumple was dead. Wumple was already really low, and Mashari has a bunch of damage.
Breaking Bard waiting behind this turret. Vision is there for both sides. Breaking Bard going to disengage from this one with this disengage. Oh, Hellbizzle got grabbed over the wall. The dunk coming in from Darius. Gentrified on the run, but he's got nowhere to go. The dunk double coming out from Sky. Going in on the rest of Hands of God. Luna's taken quite a bit of damage. Bioarcane Barrage doing its work, and this should be another turret. Breaking Bard, no! Mashari going in super deep. The rest of his team following up on what was an impossible call. Breaking Bard showing how methodical they can be in their instantaneous execution of these calls. The shot caller for Breaking Bard has done a phenomenal job this game, and Breaking Bard looked to take Game 4 of the series. This turret is going down. Nobody is coming back. This is a Breaking Bard victory, and we are going to Game 5.